What is a parable? I used the term parable last week in talking about the parable of the four soils. And I thought later about it, wondering if people would understand parable. What is that? Christians have our own language. We'll call it Christianese. And you use terms like this frequently that the secular world just doesn't understand. And so I thought, let's back up and dissect that a little bit. A parable is a simple, short story or illustration used to impart a moral or spiritual lesson. Jesus used it heavily in his teaching. In Mark chapter 4, verses 33 and 34, you'll see just how much. With many similar parables, Jesus spoke the word to them, as much as they could understand. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. But when he was alone with his own disciples, he explained everything. Sometimes parables, stories, or illustrations help people to visualize and understand a lesson that sometimes is lost in just words. In the first century, using stories of shepherding or agriculture, the parable of lost sheep, of seed being sown, were things that the people could relate to. They could see it, visualize it, and understand it. That still works in sermons today when you use stories and illustrations to help people understand the idea. Things all of a sudden make sense when you do it in that form. Not only are they good ways of illustrating truth, but in this case, why would Jesus use them? Some people are along just for the show. There's miracle, there's things happening. This is a happening place to be around Jesus. But they have no interest in truth, no interest in a Messiah. They're there maybe for the feeding of the 5,000. They were there for the food, not the spiritual food that Jesus was ultimately offering. Not only that, but there were those who wanted to trick him. The Pharisees were trying to trip him up into making a controversial statement or commitment that they could then take to the temple or take to other authorities to try and put Jesus in a compromising situation. So Jesus used parables a lot. There's probably some 40 through Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And some will come to mind and be familiar, and some you may have to dig for. But at the end, he said that he explained them to his disciples, to those of his followers who would carry on his teaching, who would go out and spread the gospel. He explained them to those people. It was important that they understand it fully. What is your favorite parable? Do you have one? If not, maybe you ought to dive in. Check them out. See which ones relate to you. There's some that, whether it's the prodigal son, the lost sheep, the soils. There's a lot of them. The wineskins. There's a lot to choose from. But think about that. Put it in the comments below. What is your favorite parable? Consider how parables, stories, and illustrations help you to understand what can sometimes be difficult truths. In this case of the Bible, sometimes stories help in other inspiration, motivational topics as well. Think about this week. I'm Jim Creel Jr., Associate Pastor, First Methodist Church in Myrtle Beach. We'd love to have you join us on Sunday for our contemporary or our traditional service, both of which are at 10 o'clock, or join us online, part of our online community. Regardless of when, where, or how you choose to worship, we ask you to follow Jesus and share him with others.